Welcome to Bear Mountain. This week, I thought we'd go back and take a look at one of the projects that we worked on a while back. You might remember we did a video on the Hellebores and how we were doing chop and drop. Excuse me, it's a little blustery out here today, so my camera is kind of moving around. But our Hellebores, or Lenten roses, are now in full bloom, and I just kind of wanted to walk you through, what the effects of chopping the old leaves off and leaving them as mulch, and how it's really done a pretty good job on the plants themselves. So let's turn around, we'll take a look at what we got, and we can talk a little bit as we're walking through the row and show you some pluses, and hopefully there's no minuses, so we'll find out. Here's an example of, this is a double. These guys have been blooming for a while, so they're you can kind of see that they've been beat up a little bit by the weather. But one of the things that we're looking at here is, how about the chopped leaves? How well are they hanging around the base of the plants? And they're actually doing pretty well. I do have some weeds that I'm going to have to come back and get rid of, like this cleaver weed. It's a pretty nasty weed, but I don't have too much of it. There is some wild vetch in here, but it's not much. And I already got new leaves coming out of some of these plants, so that's already a good sign. And as you kind of go down the row, what you can kind of see is we actually have quite a bit of new growth starting to happen. Like when you look at right here, these are all the new leaves coming out. We do still have some grass and some, small weeds. Here's a new plant. This plant here is just it's on its second year, so it's just getting started. And as these hellebores too, they're going to go to seed. See, like when you look at that one in there, which you can kind of see, is you can see a seed pod starting. So these guys, I'm going to let these guys, drop seed pods in here and get new plants going. So here's a great example of a plant. It's coming out of the mulch. Look at it, sending its leaf up. It's pretty cool. And so these guys are all looking really pretty healthy. I mean, look at the new leaves on these guys here. And what you don't see is you don't see a lot of disease on the leaves. So that's a really big positive. There was a little bit of damage to some of the blooms. You can kind of see, a little bit of like hail damage and that sort of thing. But actually, we're in really pretty good shape. Here's another batch. These are, I'm not sure what they're of like one series. I'm not sure what the name of it was. I'm going to really butcher this, but I think it was something like Winter Rose or something like that. And these guys are actually done pretty well in terms of their blooms. When you look at it, we really got a lot of blooms on all these guys. So this is actually better than we've had over the last several years. And so I think that's a pretty good testament to the fact that, we're really kind of cutting down on the competition. We still have grass and things in here that we'll have to deal with, but we'll just put more chop and drop mulch on it as it goes. And I don't really see too much disease at all. And the new leaves coming up are looking, here's another example of some new leaves, and you can kind of see they're looking really pretty healthy. That right there, if you can see that, holding my shaky hand, you see that green leaf in the center there? That is a brand new Hellebore plant, just growing from seed. And then right next to it is a baby one that's probably, that one's, let me zoom back out, is probably, it probably got started last year. And so this is going to be its next year. And then I've got some new ones over here. So these guys are going to be feeding in, to the area and kind of cleaning up a lot of the excess grasses and things like that, are letting these guys really get a good start. And so I anticipate that, when we look at this going forward, we'll keep doing this, and we should get this to be a really full area. Some of the larger plants, when you look like that one back there, and zoom back out, these guys are probably pretty close to 10 years old now, been here for just about that long. And so they've actually got some pretty good size to them. So let's take a look a little further down. We got some different varieties down in this area. Um, see how they're growing, and I kind of see the same thing. It's like I got a lot of new growth coming out, and I think, you know, the basics of this is I'm just going to have to probably do something to make sure that the grass doesn't get a head start on things coming up for the rest of the spring. But once these guys fully leaf out, this should be a pretty well shaded area for keeping, you know, grass and things like that probably on its way out. So I'm thinking what I've got going here is actually a really pretty good start. When you kind of look at, you know, kind of panning down the row, it's really pretty impressive, the number of blooms. We used to harvest these things for cut flowers, and they were kind of sometimes a hard sell, because if you didn't get them exactly at the right stage, they didn't last as long. And it was always, you know, because we were raising these outdoors, you always run into, well, what's the effect of weather on things? And luckily, for the most part, our weather hasn't really been to the point where it's damaged these guys, you know, like pushed them down into the mud or beat them up too much with hail. We've had a little bit of hail, I think a couple of weeks ago, and it really didn't last very long. Certainly nothing, you know, that was going to be super damaging. So I think this project was a success, actually. When you look at it, it's like, you know, we're really, I think the row is going to fill in. So you can still see grass, like I was saying. But overall, this is actually, I think, a very successful method of dealing with these beds. And they seem to really be responding. I mean, when I look at these guys, I mean, look at the beautiful blooms on these. See, like these, this is going to be some great seed pod. You can already see the pollen stamens are falling off. And it's going to be interesting to see, you know, if some of these new ones have crossed with some of the other ones, but can't be certain if they did or not, because we don't get a lot of bee activity this time of year. So I think, and if you're actually trying to cross these things, you probably got to, you know, do it in a greenhouse, and you got to pollinate these guys themselves, you know. Anyway, I'm really impressed. I think this worked out perfectly, and you can kind of see that the leaves are actually kind of turning into almost like a straw mulch. So I think overall, you know, when I look at the project, I think that worked out pretty well. We're starting to get a bit of a thunder shower right now, so I'm going to have to kind of wrap this up. But I thought this week could just be a quick video. We'd just take a look at, you know, how it came out and how things are progressing. And like I said, you can see a lot of new growth. You can see new plants coming up through the mulch. These guys are really responding really well. So that's a success. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.